Section 13 Transfer for benefit of unborn person, where, on a transfer of property, an interest therein is created for the benefit of a person not in existence at the date of the transfer, subject to a prior interest created by the same transfer. The interest created for the benefit of such person shall not take effect unless it extends to the whole of the remaining interest of the transferor in the property. Illustration. A Ramlal transfers property of which he is the owner to B Shyamlal in trust for A Ramlal and his intended wife successively for their lives, and after the death of the survivor for the eldest son of the intended marriage for life, and after his death for A Ramlal's second son. The interest so created for the benefit of the eldest son does not take effect, because it does not extend to the whole of A Ramlal's remaining interest in the property. Transfer for benefit of unborn person, Section 13, allows transfer of property to a person not yet in existence, unborn. Conditions. The transfer must extend to the entire remaining interest of the transferor in the property. A life estate must be created in favor of one or more living persons, life holders. After the life holder's death, the absolute interest vests in the unborn person if born within the period permitted by rule against perpetuity. Section 14 Rule against perpetuity. No transfer of property can operate to create an interest which is to take effect after the lifetime of one or more persons living at the date of such transfer, and the minority of some person who shall be in existence at the expiration of that period, and to whom, if he attains full age, the interest created is to belong. Rule against perpetuity, Section 14, prevents property from being tied up indefinitely beyond a certain period, limits the duration of interests to a life or lives in being plus 21 years, the period of gestation and minority. Consequences of violation. Transfer is void to the extent it exceeds the permissible period. Excess interest lapses and falls back to the transferor or their heirs. Section 15 Transfer to class some of whom come under sections 13 and 14 if, on a transfer of property, an interest therein is created for the benefit of a class of persons with regard to some of whom such interest fails by reason of any of the rules contained in sections 13 and 14. Such interest fails in regard to those persons only and not in regard to the whole class. Section 16 Transfer to take effect on failure of prior interest where, by reason of any of the rules contained in sections 13 and 14, an interest created for the benefit of a person or of a class of persons fails in regard to such person or the whole of such class, any interest created in the same transaction and intended to take effect after or upon failure of such prior interest also fails. Section 17 Direction for accumulation. Where the terms of a transfer of property direct that the income arising from the property shall be accumulated either wholly or in part during a period longer than the life of the transferor or period of 18 years from the date of the transfer. Such direction shall, save as hereinafter provided, be void to the extent to which the period during which the accumulation is directed exceeds the longer of the aforesaid periods, and at the end of such last-mentioned period the property and the income thereof shall be disposed of as if the period during which the accumulation has been directed to be made had elapsed. This section shall not affect any direction for accumulation for the purpose of the payment of the debts of the transferor or any other person taking any interest under the transfer, or the provision of portions for children or remoter issue of the transferor or of any other person taking any interest under the transfer, or the preservation or maintenance of the property transferred. And such direction may be made accordingly. Section 18 Transfer in perpetuity for benefit of public. The restrictions in sections 14, 16 and 17 shall not apply in the case of a transfer of property for the benefit of the public in the advancement of religion, knowledge, commerce, health, safety, or any other object beneficial to mankind. Sections 15 to 18 further refine the application of RAP and address specific scenarios involving unborn persons, class gifts, and possibilities of reverter. Understanding the interplay. These sections work together to balance two competing interests. Freedom of disposition, allowing individuals to dispose of their property as they wish. Preventing perpetuities, ensuring property doesn't remain tied up indefinitely, hindering its productive use and circulation. Key takeaways. Transfers for unborn persons are allowed, but with limitations. RAP restricts the duration of interests to prevent perpetuities. Understanding these provisions is crucial when drafting documents involving future generations. Additional points. The specific legal context and precedents in your jurisdiction might influence the interpretation and application of these provisions. Consulting a legal professional is recommended for complex situations involving transfer of property and unborn persons.